Hello, hello everyone. This is the second part of our object-oriented programming class with Python. So in the last class, we learned the very basics. We were able to set up functions and then decipher them with the classes. We were able to set up initialization classes called constructors. That's kind of methods inside of a class. And then we were able to separate concerns by creating another file that has a main class that actually executes this. So we removed this initially, and then it was executed here. So we'll grow up with that with what we learned from the class, and then continue with the learning in the second class. So let's call this file. Let's create another class op underscore demo 2. Okay, .py. So we have another class now. So just go ahead and create. Let me make this larger. Okay, so class, we want to create a person class, kind of maybe man class, but let's just call it person. And remember I told you you can use sparse keyword if you are not ready. So this is a class, like I've told you, capital, and then it doesn't have this. So be careful when you are creating classes. And then it will have a constructor called just a constructor in it, and then constructors normally come with self, and then we can pass for now. So we want this constructor to accept 3 arguments or parameters. So name, age, gender. Let's just have that. Okay, so inside of it we will have self dot name is assigned the value of, instead of hard coding it this way, so we just say it's assigned the value of name. What did I copy? It's assigned the value of name. Okay, while self dot age is assigned the value of age, and so on. So we can have 3 lines. So this should be age, and this should be age. This is age, and this is age. Sorry, this is gender, the last one, and this is gender. Okay, so these positional arguments, you need them. So we have defined our constructor, and it looks good now. So we need methods. We need some methods, functions inside of a class. And the first method we'll need, what does a man do? A man sleeps. So def sleep. Okay, so we can have self, and then the man is, just to print maybe I am sleeping. The man is sleeping. So we can say self dot name. Okay, and then we use our format string. Forgot this. Self dot name is sleeping. Okay, so we can have that. And then let's have another method. We can have driving. Okay, and you can say names is driving. No, we don't need driving for now. So we need a way of using this. So we can just, what am I doing? This should have been outside of it. So outside of it. Okay, it's driving. We could have well said that, but we want to use this. Maybe self dot name is self dot age years old. So he can drive, something like that. He can drive. Okay, so we can reduce this. So he can drive. So let's have another one. So we have another one. So um maternity self dot name is a um okay is maybe gender, and she is on maternity leave. So it's not always textbook stuff. We can always be creative to put up something that is really nice. It doesn't have to be textbook stuff all the time, cars, houses, to explain a particular thing. So, and she is okay. So we have three methods inside our class, and and a constructor inside of that class. These are class attributes. Okay, you can call these ones class attributes, or attributes for short. Attributes. So each of these are attributes. Okay, and then actually these are the attributes. These are the attributes. Self.name is assigned the value of whatever the user is supplying when calling this class. So that is as easy as that. So we learned in our last class how easy it is to create an object of the class. So we have created the class here with some methods, and then here, over here, we want to create objects of that class. So we go out of that class. You don't create it here because it seems it's still inside of that class. So you go out and then you create objects, objects of the class. Okay. So how do you do that? Just a variable name. We may not use obj this time, so may I just use per is assigned the value of person, the name of the class capitalized, okay, and then since it has this, so we open a bracket for it. So we need name, age, and gender. So we might just supply name Joseph. Yeah. Okay. Lisbeth George. Uh, so maybe then we have age. Let me just give an age. This is an integer, so let me just maybe 28. And then we have gender, which is the last one, and I'm saying she's female. Okay, and yeah, so um yep, so we have created this, and then she is female. So what we need to do is to use this pair class and be able to use, so no errors expected. So we'll use this pair object to get the or whatever method we want. So sleep, what was that here? So if we ask for sleep and it's telling us Elizabeth George is sleeping. So if we are checking if she's driving, yes, it should tell us Elizabeth George is 28 years old, so she can drive. Yeah, could have used here so that he or she works. So she can drive. So she can drive. All right, so maternity. Yep. Okay, so yes, a female, she's on maternity leave. All right, so this really looks good. So we can reuse these objects, we can reuse classes. So a way we can do that, like this for one person. What if we wanted to use it for my popular novelist author, or James? Her book called Baby Bling is really nice. So I'm just saying 35, she's a female, and if we were to use this, all we need to do is to change the object so that it will target the second person. So we now see that with the objects, the class we created and the objects we are able to derive from the class, it's easier for us to run different persons as they come in. We don't need to go and start creating these for each of the persons. So we can have Elizabeth George is sleeping, blah blah blah, and then we have Il James is sleeping, blah blah blah. So that's how you are able to create and work with methods. Okay, work with classes and methods. So here we have multiple instances, and we are able to do it by ourselves. All right, so the next one I'll talk about now is let me just create this one, maybe OOP demo 3.py. All right, so we want to, I mean, you guys are advanced now, so I can just go ahead without talking. We are creating a car class, and then it will have some attributes of the class. Okay, so we have dev, init, and then normally we have ourselves. Okay, there's something I just remember, maybe I have to talk about it. So make, a car will have a make, will have a model, or will have a year of manufacturing. Okay, and then we can just say self.make is assign the value of make, whatever the user supplies there, and then we have self dot so the next one will be self dot model is assign the value of model, and then self dot year is assign the value of year, whatever is supplied there. So we are done with our constructor for now. So let's get a descriptive name for it. So uh, uh, describe it, maybe something like this, describe it. Okay, so we have a function called describe it, and then it has self. Once we have constructor, we need that. So let's just say long name is assigned the value of let me just call it, yeah, maybe display. Okay, it's assigned the value of f. So we can do this, we can assign something like this, and maybe just say year, manufacturer, and model. So let's look at that. Maybe let's just print that year, self dot year. Okay, and inside of it again, self dot manufacturer, self dot make. Okay, self dot make, and then self dot model, and then self dot model. Okay, so we have that as a variable. Okay, so we'll be able to call that variable. So essentially we want to return it. I talked about in our class, I talked about the differences between uh, having a print statement directly in a method, in a function, so to speak, or being able to return it and using it later. I prefer the second part because it gives you much flexibility to reuse the return statement however you want, whenever you want, not just once you call the function or the class, everything appears for you even when you didn't need it. Now with the return statement, you're able to use the statement for other computations even without displaying it. But once you print it out from a function, I mean, it's so stiff. You can't use it. Once you call that function, everything is printed out. So I prefer using return. So in this case, we are using return statement. So what we return is a display dot uh, what there is a way I want to do this. Okay, so um so let's just have name there. Okay, all right. Okay, okay. So let's just return that. So we have return display dot how should we call this name? Okay, or maybe title. Okay, okay. So outside of this function now, so you want to display with title. All right. So um outside of this function now, we should be able to call our new class. Maybe uh my new car, okay, is assigned the value of new car is assigned the value of um so we call it car, that's the method, and then the, let's just give those three, yeah, make, model. Well, so the make can be Volvo, and then we can have I don't know makes for Volvo. Maybe let me just call it A4. Okay. So make, model, I don't know models for that. So yeah, maybe, yeah, that one would be simple. So 2022. Okay. So let's run this first. Hope we don't have any errors. Okay, so no errors. So that's printed. So now we'll be able to grab our function. This describe it. So with this new car object, we are able to get describe it. Okay, describe it doesn't have any returned parameter. Okay, so um so now, because we sent it as return statement, we actually need to print it here. Okay, so let's print that. So it tells us 2022 Volvo A4. So it prints it for us. Okay, depending on how we provided the information here. My car is which was manufactured in uh, and the model is, so that should essentially print it better for us. So my car is blah blah blah. Okay, okay, I dropped something without even checking. All right, let me just leave that. Okay, so that works. My car is 2022 okay, which was manufactured in Volvo and okay. So if we remove this title, we will have ours everything in normal cases, not capitalized each word. So my car is 2022, which was manufactured or whatever. I think I mixed them up, but at least you understand the concept. So this is how to use a car as an example and then create methods from it, okay, and be able to work with them. Another thing is, if we called car and then we supplied only one or two, okay, we will have errors here, okay, missing two required arguments, okay. So there are times you want to avoid this, so you may have default parameters. You may say this is A3, okay. You may have default parameters, just like in methods. We talked about this in method, and then you may say this is 2024, okay. So if we have those default parameters and then we run it, so it is understood that this is 2024. So it picks and just places those for the default parameter. So sometimes when you realize that you run into errors while calling the function, the method, or the class, okay, trying to get to know the number of classes or the number of parameters, arguments passed, you may easily supply default values for each of them so that it will be safe. It will be safe for you, okay. All right, so moving on to that, we want to add there are times also you want to add default values for attributes, not just for your constructor, not just for the class or method, okay. You want to add for values, for default values for your attributes. So you can have another value here and then just call it self.speedometer, okay, and then you say the starting is 0, okay, speedometer reading, that one is 0, okay. And then let's have a simple function to be able to read that. So we have def read speedometer, okay, self, so we have this car has let me just print that. So we print it at once here. Has self.speedometer speedometer mouse, maybe just I'm not sure. So if we run this, okay, we've not actually called it, so we need to call it here as well. So we'll call it without the print because we already printed it. So we just call it and then we change this to speedometer. So if we call this now, is it not callable? Blah 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 blah. I think we have an error somewhere. New car does read speedometer, please. Oh, so that was the error. So this car has 0 miles. So if we update the speedometer to 120 here, so something like that. So that's a way we can also have default values for our classes, okay. And in other ways we can modify those attribute values, okay. We can modify those attribute values even in our class, inside of our class, okay. What other thing should I show you? Just thinking about, okay. So in our next class, I just wanted to make this very short. In our next class, we'll talk about inheritance. We'll discuss inheritance in Python. Inheritance generally in programming is just like a child class inheriting from a parent class. You understand? So that it doesn't need to define some attributes again and all the other things. So what the parent has already belongs to the child. So we'll see how to work with that using our OOP. So that's one concept of OOP, and it's really lovely to use. So thank you very much. Hope you subscribe and like the video. Drop your comments. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much.